741, the wake-up call on WTLS. Also, Tallahassee Times TV at TallahasseeTV.com. Glad you're with us. As we continue, we've got the Mrs. USA Petite 2015 with us. How about that?
That's pretty neat.
Candace McCool joins us. Candace, appreciate you being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Congratulations, by the way. We must say that.
Oh, I really appreciate that.
Now, you're a Trustful native. You're an Alabamian winning a national award. We're happy for you, and congratulations, and thanks for representing the state very well in this competition. We must ask you first to explain, how do you become a candidate to be in the Mrs. USA Petite contest, which was held down in Clearwater, Florida?
Mm-hmm. So the Mrs. USA Petite pageant is for ladies that are 5'6" and under. So it's not your typical pageant. And because of that, there is not a director in every single state. So the contestants that do not have a director in their state, they become an at-large contestant, which means that they fill out an application and submit photographs, and then the director chooses the winner for that state. And that's how I became the contestant from Alabama. Now, once you go on to the national pageant, then you compete with the women from around the nation. And like you said, it was held in Clearwater, Florida on October the 19th.
So you're a Mrs. as well. So is it for married women only, or how does that work?
There are 4 different divisions. You have the teen, the MISS, which is the Ms., and then you have Ms., MS. The MS can either be married or not, but if they're married, they have to be, I believe, under the age of 30. And then you have the Mrs., MRS, and that was my division, and you have to be 30 years old and older to compete in that division, and you have to be married.
So, I look at Petite, and it's a 5'6" and under, as you say. When we look at a pageant, most of us are familiar with what we see on TV, I guess, Miss America, whatever. Most of those girls, are they, tall? Are they, higher, 6 feet tall, 5'9", 5'10"? What do you say?
Very. And a lot of those pageants, their main goal is to have a winner who is runway model ready, which means they can walk out on that runway and wear the designer clothes that were made for models. So they are 5'7" and taller. But that kind of, doesn't give a fair shot for us petite ladies, because we do a lot in our community, and pageants are our way of getting our message out to people and gives us a great platform. So I'm really excited that there is a pageant for us petite ladies.
So what do you do? What do you do? You don't obviously run around doing the pageant tour year round. So what keeps you busy?
Well, my full-time job, I'm a registered nurse at a Birmingham hospital. I work in the emergency room, and when I'm not there, I am promoting my platform. It's called Move Beyond. It's helping people rise to new heights, to move beyond tragedy. And the way that I created it is, a year ago, I broke my back in 3 places, and I was basically bedridden for 2 months.
Man.
And it was really awful, because my entire life I've always been into health and fitness. I teach Zumba. I'm an avid CrossFitter. I've even owned a gym before. So to be completely unable to do anything as far as activity, it was really devastating. So I had to focus on 3 areas of my life. I had to focus on my mental and emotional well-being, how I reacted to the situation. Then my nutrition. What was I putting into my body to help it rehab completely? And then the third thing is just what movement I could do. I broke my L2, 3, and 4 of the transverse process. So thank goodness I did not have to have surgery, but I did have to wait until that was completely healed before I could move. So I take those 3 areas and I combine it into my Move Beyond platform. And so I do something different in each one of those areas. So for emotional well-being, I volunteer with Hand in Paw. It is a national, it's an organization here in Alabama that's part of a national organization called Pet Partners. And what we do is we take our dogs into nursing homes, rehabilitation centers, hospitals, and we just bring joy and happiness to the patients there. And then for nutrition, I actually have a cooking show. It's called Cooking with Candace, Nutrition for a Healthier Soul, where I share inspirational messages while I'm showing you a very simple, easy recipe.
Wait, is it a show you can watch on TV? Can you watch it on the
it's on
internet?
YouTube.
YouTube,
yes,
okay.
Yeah, you can go to youtube.com/C/Candace McCool, and you spell that CandiceMcCool.
Cool name, by the way, McCool. You got to love. Are you married to the right guy, right?
Into that.
I'll have to check out the show about the cooking and stuff. What's one of your famous recipes?
Well, the favorite among the men would be the bacon wrapped chicken. That's a really great one to be able to cook for game day and just to have a whole pile of it so the guys can dig in while they're watching football.
Oh, yes, of course.
And that's the first one that pops up, by the way, when you go to YouTube and do the search.
Now you got
bacon wrapped chicken.
I'm going to check that out. You got a miniature dachshund that you carry around with. People, they just love animals, don't they? They really do.
They really do.
They bring a smile to your face.
Unconditionally. And that was something I did not even realize that hand and paw was something that was real. But while I was laying on my back, my dog was there for me, and she didn't care what state I was in. She loved me unconditionally. And when we walk into these hospitals, it does not matter what physical affliction that person is going through, doesn't matter what their mental capacity is, that dog loves them no matter what. And so it really, that attention that they get from the dogs, it just brightens their day.
So what happened for you to break your back? What was it?
It was a gymnastics accident. It was faulty equipment, and
Wow.
I was up on gymnastics rings, and the training apparatus that I was in came off.
Gosh.
And I didn't have anything up underneath me as far as a mat, and so I landed on concrete.
Oh,
Goodness.
man. So you were doing gymnastics. Were you a gymnast in college? Is that what you did?
No, good. No, actually, it was in CrossFit.
Just okay.
This is not, it's not a typical equipment that you would find in a CrossFit gym, but this was an apparatus that they had purchased to help people. For anyone in your listening audience that does CrossFit, they'll know what a muscle up is, and it's to help you with the progression into that until you're strong enough to do it by yourself.
Yeah. Seen a lot of CrossFit stuff lately here. You see it on TV too. I gotta. How was that? I mean, you're an active person. I know you can it'd be tough to explain, but for somebody who's always up and going to be basically just like you said, bedridden, for a couple of months? What did you do to pass the time?
Yeah,
you watch a lot of TV, I guess. 2
full months before I had to progress from being in the bed to a wheelchair, and then to a walker, and then walking just with my brace, and then I was finally strong enough after physical rehabilitation to remove my brace and go back to work.
So what do you do while you can't do anything? Watch TV?
No. And that was the thing. Even after I went through rehabilitation, when I started going back into the gym, I did a Les Mills program called Body Flow because it was really the only thing that I could do. Didn't lift weights, which I was very, very used to doing. It's more like Pilates and yoga, and I couldn't even stand on one leg and keep my balance because it was my lower back that had been affected.
Yeah, golly. You're completely recovered now, though, right?
Oh, yes. I'm 100% better now.
You don't have any issues with your back anymore?
I still have some residual pain, but, other than that, I can deal with that.
Well, I'm impressed. Now, I'll ask you, once you got to the pageant, what do you do in the pageant? What is it that happens, and what kind of things, do you have to do to win? What exactly was that all about?
We were competing in 3 different areas. We had interviews with the judges, and it was a panel interview, which means you sit in a seat, and then they are basically sitting in front of you, and they just fire off questions at you. So after the interview, then comes the night of the pageant, and you have the opening number and then fashion wear. Now, the other categories, they were doing swimsuits. But for the men's category, they allowed us to do fashion wear. And then you had evening wear. And then after that, you're judged on your on-stage question.
So what's your strength? All of them, I guess you won, right?
Yeah. As far as my strengths go, why do I feel like I won?
Yeah.
I would just have to say it was my legacy project. There's a lot of girls or a lot of women who just pick a charity and just kind of piggyback on the charity.
Yeah.
I kind of tried to take it a step further and create my own brand. I have a logo, my Move Beyond logo, and then so it's something that took me to create, but like my YouTube videos, it lasts beyond me.
Yeah. I like what you're doing. It's no doubt about that. I'm going to check out that YouTube video so I can pass it on to my wife and give her some ideas. We try to
That sounds wonderful.
shake it up a little bit with some of the menu options. By the way, we see your acquaintance of one of our guys here, Jay Newcastle. We won't hold that against you. We know Jay real well. Jay's a good guy.
He really is. He's quite phenomenal.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, Candace, congratulations. I know you wear the crown well for the state of Alabama, Mrs. USA Petite 2015. Thanks so much for your time this morning, and good luck. And when you're down this way, come by and see us and cook us up something. We'd be glad. We always take a meal.
Wonderful.
Thanks a lot. We enjoyed it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you, Candace McCool. There you are. How about that?
She just called Jay Newcastle phenomenal.
Yeah, she knows how to say the right things, right? Mrs. USA Petite 2015 there with us. That was great. She's doing great things. It's good to hear that. And, again, representing the state of Alabama. She's the winner overall.
Congratulations to her also for, coming back from the injuries.
No doubt.